Hello, everyone. I hope you are getting excited about our upcoming trip to Scotland and London. I prepared a short video just to review a bit of the information. Most of the stuff is things that we've already talked about and you already know, but just so that you have an idea of what to pack, what our itinerary is going to look like, and also just some reminders about travel documents, airports, and those kinds of things. So just a reminder that we have 3 chaperones coming on the trip with us, myself and Jillian Clark and Judy Stark. So just a quick reminder on travel documents prior to heading to the airport on Saturday. So make sure that you've got your passport with you before heading out of the house. I know it seems obvious, but it is an item that can be easy to forget. Make sure that you have it in your carry-on luggage, not your checked luggage. You want to have it with you on the plane because they will ask for it at boarding in Moncton and again in Toronto and again once we land in London. You will also need to make sure that your ETA, your UK Electronic Travel Authorization document, is complete. Chatting with the girls earlier this week, I think everybody has completed that step. However, just a quick reminder in case it's not done. It's a very simple and quick process. You can use the link that I've included here in the slide to get your ETA finished. And once it's submitted, it usually takes between 15 and 30 minutes before it's approved and you get a confirmation email. Once you get your confirmation, you do not need to do anything else. That document is uploaded automatically to your passport so that a ticket agent or a customs agent will see it once your passport is scanned. And the document is valid for 2 years. So if you want to return to the UK the next 2 years, you will not have to reapply for one. But it is important that it's done because when flying to the UK, they will flag it if it's not done. So for instance, I don't think you have any issues in Moncton, but when we tried to board the flight to Toronto, from Toronto to London, the ticket agents may refuse you entry onto the flight if you don't have an ETA. Another recommendation I'm going to make is to make copies of your passports. I think it's always good to have one photocopy that you leave at home with your loved ones and another one that you bring with you. You can either hang on to it or you can give it to me if you'd like. I can hang on to them while we're there and give them back to you at the end of the trip. The reason why we have the photocopies is in case something happens to a passport where it would be lost or stolen or damaged. In that case, it makes things a lot easier and quicker if we have to go to the embassy or a consulate in the UK to replace a passport. With our booking for Air Canada with this trip, we are allowed to have one piece of checked luggage, one carry-on bag, and one personal item. So for your checked baggage, just make sure that your suitcase is not heavier than 50 pounds. If you do have a suitcase that's heavier than 50 pounds, it's not a problem, but you will have to pay an extra charge once you get to the check-in counter. So make sure that your suitcase is of kind of standard size. You can see the dimensions here, plus that it's not over 50 pounds. For your carry-on bag, the dimensions are here. Make sure that your carry-on bag is packed with items that are absolutely necessary to you. For example, any medication that you are going to be bringing should be in your carry-on, not in your checked bag. And make sure that your medication that you bring is in its original packaging. So for example, I know that I hate carrying Tylenol around, like the big bottle of Tylenol, so I often split it up in small bags or small little packages, but that can be kind of frowned upon once you go to security. So make sure that any medication that you are bringing is in its original package, and particularly prescription medication that you are bringing should have your name on the bottle if ever you're searched. I will also make the suggestion to pack a few outfits in your carry-on, just in case your luggage is misplaced or takes more time to arrive to London. You will have some outfits and some clothing with you in case that something happens to your checked luggage. And then, of course, you can also bring a personal item like a book bag or a purse with you as a second item on the plane. The dimensions are here. Just a reminder when we go through security in airports, to make sure that you don't have any liquids, gels, or aerosols in your carry-ons. Liquids should be less than 100 millimeters. So like a bottle of hand sanitizer, for example, would be fine, but a bottle of perfume would probably not be. So make sure that sharp objects like knives, scissors, box cutters are all put away in checked luggage. Obviously no firearms and ammunition, explosive or flammable items, tools, sporting equipment, bat clubs, or anything that could be considered a weapon should be put away. And not that I think we would be bringing any of those, but should be put away in your checked luggage rather than your carry-on. All right, so I have our flight information posted. There is a slight error on my slide here. The outbound flight should say Saturday, August 1st, and the return flight should say Friday, August 14th. However, the flight numbers and the flight destinations and times are correct on the slide. This information is also available to you on your World Strides account. And it's also available on the app. So if you haven't downloaded the World Strides app to your phone yet, I'll talk about it a little bit later in this video. And I highly recommend you have it on your phone because it has all of our information and our itinerary on it. So just taking a look at our flight numbers and the flight durations, you can take a look at that. On Saturday, I would like us to meet at the airport at 4:30 in the departures hall. We do need to have everybody present for check-in, so I can't check in maybe like 2 or 3 people while we still wait for others, so everybody has to be there. So we will meet at 4:30, and that should give us more than enough time to do our check-in, get through security. I also will recommend on Saturday of you having a bite to eat or bringing some snacks with you because our flight is around supper time. Plus, when we get to Toronto, we don't have a super long layover. If the flight's on time, we will have enough time to kind of go to the washroom and maybe get a snack, but not a ton else. It's about a 20-minute walk between both of our gates. And that's if we're on time. If our flight from Moncton is late, things could be even a bit tighter than that. So we might not have time to stop to get a proper meal in Toronto. So I would suggest eating before you leave for the airport and bringing some snacks. Make sure that you check or at least on Saturday, check Teams out. I'll be keeping an eye on the flight status. So if ever the flight is canceled or there's a long delay or something like that, I'll make sure that I contact everybody on Teams to kind of give you a new time to meet at the airport or those kinds of things. Our accommodations in the UK are first the Copthorne Terra Hotel in London. I've put the address on the screen. So this is a pretty standard hotel situation. Students will be 2 to a room, so Lila and Chloe will be roommates and Charlie and Maeve will be roommates, and all the chaperones will have their single rooms at the hotel. You'll have a private bathroom in your room to be shared with your roommate only, 2 double beds so everybody gets their own bed, and breakfast at the hotel. The hotel is really near Kensington High Street, so if we want to do a bit of shopping, we'll be really nearby and we can just go take a walk there. Especially on Sunday when we arrive would be a good time for that. When we go to Scotland, our accommodation is a Lee House, which is a residence on the campus of the University of Edinburgh. The address is also on the screen. So once we get here, everybody has their own private rooms. In your room, you're going to have a bed, a nightstand, a desk, a wardrobe. Plus, you also have a mirror with a sink, your own sink, so if you want to get ready and things in the morning. However, it is a shared private bathroom situation. So what that means is that there are bathrooms on the floor for the people staying on the floor that are private. So for instance, when we go to St. Thomas University for Drama Festival, it's like a situation where you walk into the bathrooms and it's stalls. And so that's not really the case at Lee House. They are all private toilets, private showers. So when you go in, you lock the door and you're by yourself in there. However, it is, those facilities are shared by everybody on the floor. So they will be shared by our group and probably another group or two that are staying on the same floor as us. So I would recommend bringing flip-flops if you don't want to be barefoot in the shower. They will provide towels to us while we're there. However, they do not provide washcloths or face cloths. So you want to bring a few of those into your suitcase if you can. There's also, I didn't find it too bad last year when I was there, but the tour director suggested that the pillows are a little bit thin while you're there. So if you're somebody who is specific about your sleeping situation, so you want a fluffier pillow or you want a fan, you want extra blankets, you can also pack those things. There's also the option of going to buy a few things when we get there. There is a kitchenette on each floor that we can access with our card key that we're going to get for our room. So only the people on our floor will have access to that kitchenette. So what we will do is we'll probably go to the groceries every few days, and we can buy things like fruits and snacks and cereals or all those kinds of things, and we can keep them in the kitchenette. We'll label so that people know that they belong to us. There is also a laundry on site. So there is an app that we can download that will allow us to connect to the laundry machines. And you'll be able to do some laundry while we're there. And they also sell the laundry pods at the office, the World Strides office on campus, so that we don't need, you can bring some, but you don't necessarily need to pack some either. Once we're on the campus, everything's pretty straightforward. There's the World Strides office where we can go and get information or ask about things to do that day. There's also the cafeteria that's just nearby within walking distance, and also a small store. So it's like a convenience store, so that we can go buy some things if ever we're stuck one evening or those kinds of things. As far as security goes, there is a 24-hour security personnel at Lee House. So when we come back, we will have to, in the evenings, we will have to sign in. We will need our artist passes that we're going to get once we land in Scotland, and also our card keys for our rooms. I've been told that there is a fee to replace card keys and artist passes, so make sure that you have a safe place to store those. I will also remind you once we get to Scotland. So how are we getting from London to Scotland? We are taking a bus. So we will be sharing with other groups and other schools, but we will be busing from London to Edinburgh. That is a long drive. It's about a 6.5 hour drive. So if you are someone who gets car sick or sick on a bus or motion sickness, make sure that you bring some meds with you or whatever you need to make that trip a little bit easier. I've been told that we're going to stop 2 times on the way. So one will be kind of a short stop that's just a break for people to use the washroom, get a snack. And on our second stop, we're going to stop somewhere where we can really stop and have a proper meal and do a bit of shopping on our way up to Edinburgh. What to pack. So make sure you bring your UK adapter. Outlets in North America and the UK are not the same. So if you try to plug a North American device in the UK, you won't be able to unless you have an adapter. We had a donation of adapters given to us. So the girls, if they wanted one, did receive an adapter that they can bring with them. Those adapters work pretty much with any device. My only caution would be when using something like that has a lot of voltage or requires a lot of voltage, like a hair dryer, a straightener, a curling iron. Just make sure to check the label on your device first. If you're not sure, you can always ask one of the chaperones, or what I usually do is I'll just kind of take a picture of the label on my device, send it through ChatGPT, and it'll kind of tell me if it's compatible with the UK adapter or not. If it's not and you plug it, you do risk the damage of destroying or damaging your device. So I'd always would just check the big things just before plugging them in. The weather in the UK is a little bit like Canada. It's a bit unpredictable. It's the UK, so we're there 14 days. Chances are there is going to be some rain while we're there. London tends to be milder, and their summers are a bit more similar to Canadian ones. Scotland is a lot colder. So you probably will need a coat or a summer jacket in the evenings. And it can come down, especially if it's rainy, it can come down to like 14, 15 degrees sometimes. On a sunny day, it'll be very nice and you'll be able to wear shorts and things like that. But I think layers are the way to go. Make sure that you bring things for any type of weather, for rain, for cold, for sunshine, for heat. You also want to make sure that you have some good shoes. We'll be doing quite a bit of walking. And in Edinburgh in particular, a lot of cobblestone streets and narrow alleyways. So you want to make sure that you have some good, comfortable shoes. Like I said in the previous slide, you do want to bring some washcloths or some face cloths. Towels will be provided, but you do need to bring the washcloths. You also want to make sure that you bring your show essentials. So we've packed everything at the Legion after our last show, all the costumes, but if you are bringing makeup, extra bobby pins, I will have some, but if you are using a lot of your own bobby pins, nylon stockings, and those things, you are responsible for packing. And anything you need for sleep is also something that you want to bring with you. So I don't know what you use, eye masks or fans or those kinds of things. Our itinerary while we are in the UK. So the first thing before we even talk about schedule is I would strongly suggest that you download the World Strides app. It has all of our day-to-day itinerary on it, what time we should be at places, our locations that we need to meet, all those things. I put the link in the message when I sent you this video. The link is there so you can download it to your phone. If you're having a hard time downloading it, not to worry. When we get to the airport on Saturday, we will have some time and I can help anybody who has a hard time getting the app to work on their phone. While we are in the UK, we will have breakfast together every morning and we'll kind of go over the plan for that day. So you'll have it on your phone, but we will kind of take time to just review what's going on, what we're doing, what activities. And if there's free time that day, we don't have free time every day, but there are some days where we'll have some afternoons or mornings off that we can decide to do some activities. So we can have a discussion about what we'd like to do. I have tons of ideas of things that we can do while we have free time, and I'm sure that our guides will have suggestions as well. However, I think it'd be great if you do a bit of your own research while we're there. Also, you can talk to students from other schools, find out what shows they're seeing, what activities they're doing, and you might think, oh, well, that's really cool, I want to try that out. So we will have a discussion about how we want to spend our free time once we get to Scotland, and we'll kind of take it day by day. So for instance, if one evening we have some free time, but we've had a super busy couple of days and everybody just kind of wants to relax or wants to just have some quiet time, then we can also organize those things too. The nice thing with our trip, compared to those of you who went to New York with EF, where every minute seemed to be scheduled, is we do have some breathing room in this schedule. And also the fact that we have 3 adults for 4 students does allow us some flexibility. So for instance, one evening, if one student wants to go visit a museum and then others want to go shopping, we can always make that happen for you because we're such a small group, which is nice. I also added the link in the message for the Edinburgh Fringe Festival page. So while we're there, it's the biggest theater festival in the world. There are shows of every kind, musical, plays, comedy, improv, circus, opera, ballet, dance, you name it. They have it. So it could be a bit overwhelming to look at first, but there's definitely shows for every single taste. And usually they're quite inexpensive. Usually last year when I was going to see shows, I was paying between $5 and $15 to go see a show. The exception would be like some of the really popular shows, but most of the shows are pretty affordable. So make sure that you are ears open and you're listening to shows that other students might have wanted to go see, because we could definitely catch some great theater while we're there. The other great thing, and I've also attached that document to the message that I sent to you guys on Teams or through email, is that any show that is part of the American Theatre High School Festival, which is our program, or the ICTF, which is the university version of our program, is free for students of the program. So for example, I know that many of you wanted to go see Anne of Green Gables from Sussex. So if we decide that we want to go watch that show, we have free tickets on standby, which means that once everybody who's paid for a ticket has gone in, if there are still seats left, we get to go free to watch that show. So definitely something to keep in mind. I would take a look at the other schools and see if there are shows that you're interested in going to see. There are 32 other high schools performing, so definitely lots of different things to choose from. We have been assigned to go see 4 schools. So the way that works is that everybody is assigned to see 4 different schools, and we have 4 different schools assigned to see us at each performance. So those ones are kind of non-negotiables. We have to go see them, but we can definitely go see shows that we're not assigned to as well. All right, so again, all of this is in much more detail on your app, on your World Strides app, but just a quick overview. So our London leg of the trip is probably the busiest. So once we get there on the 2nd of August, we will be picked up at the airport and we are going to go on a coach tour of the city. This is not a coach tour where we stop and visit. It's just kind of for us to kind of get a lay of the land. And it's also kind of to keep us busy until our rooms are ready for check-in. So in the afternoon on Sunday, we will have some free time. My suggestion will be, if our rooms are ready, to either choose to rest, or if you're feeling up to it, we can go do some exploring on Kensington High Street and go see kind of the shops that are there and the different things that are there. Sunday evening will be some time to rest. There has been some chit chat amongst the girls about going to see an optional show on Sunday. The consensus when we were talking about it was that people wanted to wait until Sunday morning to see if they were feeling up to it, which is fine. When you buy tickets for a West End show in London, often you can get a cheaper rate if you wait the day of. Of course, sometimes you get stuck with seats that aren't that great, or sometimes things can sell out, but there's usually a few seats available. So the 3 shows that are happening on Sunday, because most of the shows do not run on Sunday evenings, our options would be 6 Hadestown, which we saw in New York, or Titanic. And I put the cost of the cheapest ticket with the exchange rate below. So that'll be up to the girls, and we can make that decision on Sunday morning when we arrive. We could do that during the coach tour to see if people feel like they're up for a show that evening or if they just want to relax. Of course, both options will be available. So if some people want to go to the show, we have some chaperones that can stay back. And if, or want to stay at the hotel, we have some chaperones that can stay back. And I'm happy to take people to a show. That will be at your own cost. So that's not included in the tour. That's something that we would be purchasing extra. On Monday, that's our very busy day. Everything on that day is already kind of planned for us. So we are going to Buckingham Palace. We are going to the Tower of London. And then we are ending the night with our West End show in the evening, which is Moulin Rouge. So a busy day, definitely on Monday. As I mentioned earlier, August 4th on the Tuesday is the day we'll be heading to Scotland. We are traveling by bus from London to Edinburgh. So I put 9 to 10 hours, but I don't think it's that long. I think we're looking probably at a 6-7 hour trip, like I mentioned earlier. So just make sure that you're all set for a long bus ride if you're somebody who gets motion sickness. We will have some scheduled stops along the way for snacks, meals, and a bit of shopping. Make sure that when we're on the bus, it's a bit like when you have a carry-on, that you have your necessary items such as medications with you. So once we get to Edinburgh, our itinerary will change slightly from day to day. And this is where we'll have some more free time, but things that are already on our schedule that we can expect and that are included in the tour. So we will have a walking tour of the city with a guide, an underground ghost tour, a tour of the Edinburgh Castle, an afternoon tea, traditional Cailleach, I always butcher that word. So a night of traditional Scottish dancing. The theme this year is an 80s theme, so you can bring some colorful clothes and things like that if you want to dress up, but it's not necessary. A musical improv workshop, the Baby Wants Candy show. So Baby Wants Candy is a improvised musical. It's very cool. I went last year, so I think we'll enjoy it. And the Edinburgh Military Tattoo, which is a big show at the Edinburgh Castle, which includes bagpipers and dancers from all over the world. So while we're there, we are also going to perform. We will have a tech rehearsal. We are going to perform our show 4 times. We will also do a bit of busking. So there is one evening where we are going to go out on the Royal Mile in costume, and we are going to promote our show. So that'll be interesting. We've never done that before, but it's something to expect, weather permitting, of course. And we will also attend 4 shows from other schools. So the 4 shows we've been assigned are The Hobbit from Theatre on the Blue in Massachusetts, Play On, which we're very excited to see because it's a play that we did as a dinner theatre a couple of years ago, by Purple Summer Theatre in Florida. Zombie Prom from a high school in New Jersey, and Crybaby the Musical, which is actually also a 50s style musical like ours, from California. So again, make sure that you check out what other shows are available in the Fringe. There's tons to see, tons to do, and also remember that if it's another school from our festival, that we can get in at no charge on standby. We will make sure that, again, I said it earlier, but we will make sure that every day at breakfast, we kind of discuss what we would like to do with our free time that day, if we have any. Okay, so one thing we really want to prioritize while we're on tour is safety and security. So like I mentioned earlier, our hotel in London and Lee House in Scotland will have 24-hour security on the premises. We will be doing room checks every evening. So chaperones will be going to knock on your doors, wishing you good night, making sure that you're all set for the evening. AHSTF has the quiet hours set for 11 p.m. So every student should be in their room by 11 p.m. That said, if you want to go to bed earlier, just let one of the chaperones know and we will make sure that we go do your room check earlier. So once you're in your room for the evening, you are expected to remain there from the time that we do your room check to 6 a.m. the following morning. Of course, if you're getting up to use the washroom in the residence, that's fine. But all of your things like laundry, showering, snacks, all those things should be done prior to the room check at 11 p.m. And you should remain in your room until 6 a.m. After which, if you want to get up, shower, get ready for the day, you are free to do so. Make sure that you keep your keys safe. Your key should be with you all the time. Don't get locked out of your room. It's easy to do. And there is a fee to replace lost or damaged keys. So plan to keep that in a safe place with you. Always, when we're out and about visiting things, always travel with a group. So we're a small group. There's 7 of us. No one should be going on their own anywhere. So let's say even one evening, if one person wants to go do one activity and the other 3 students want to do something else, we will make sure that a chaperone goes with you. If we arrive somewhere and we say, okay, well, we're staying on the Royal Mile, which is the main street in Edinburgh, for an hour, and we're all meeting here in an hour. If you split off into groups, you have to make sure that you always are with at least one other person. We do not want anybody on their own at any time. Be aware of your surroundings. So in London and in Scotland, it's a bigger problem in London. Pickpocketing is common. So often If you've got like a book bag or if you've got your phone out in your hand, it's very easy for somebody to snatch it. So make sure that you have your belongings safely stored. Your book bag should be zipped up. Don't take cash or cards and flash them out in the open unnecessarily. So just be aware of your surroundings and make sure that your belongings are very securely stored with you somewhere. So if you even have one of those front bags or front fanny packs, those are great. Once we get to the UK, do not carry your passport on you. Leave it in your hotel room, in your residence room. There are safes. I was told that there is a safe in the hotel room, and there's also one in your dorm room that you can use to lock up your valuables. So your passport is one that I would definitely not take with you on all your excursions. And in an emergency, hopefully that's not something we have to do, but in an emergency, the UK number is 999, not 911. All right, money on tour. So I would plan to bring either some cash or a credit card. In my experience, Canadian debit cards are not very reliable in the UK. You may have some arrangement with your bank, and who knows, your card may work, but usually they don't. So I would make sure that you don't plan on just having your debit and hoping for the best. Have a plan B. So either you could bring a credit card or some money with you. So how much money should you bring? That really depends on your spending habits and how much you plan to shop while we're there. While we're on tour, you can expect to cover one meal per day. The tour pays usually for breakfast and supper, but usually we're out and about for lunch and we will have to kind of find a spot to eat on our own. That being said, there is one exception. When we are in London, there is a day where 2 meals will have to be covered. But other than that, there's usually 2 a day covered by the tour. We will also go to the groceries probably every few days to grab some snacks and some things that you could bring along with you while we are out and visiting and performing and doing all of those things. Most of your activities, like the ones I talked about in our previous slides, are included already, so you don't have to pay for those. But if we decide to do some optional things along the way, there may be some costs associated to that. But again, because we're a small group and we have lots of chaperones, there's going to be some flexibility there. So you don't necessarily not everybody has to agree and participate on the same optional activities. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so staying connected on tour. So our Canadian plans, unless you made some sort of arrangement with your provider, do not work in the UK. There are a few things that you can do for this. If you're interested in getting data or making phone calls, you can look into SIM cards or eSIM. Usually when I travel overseas, I purchase an eSIM card because I can it's flexible in terms of what it offers. You can kind of choose what you'd like to have on it. And it's also kind of automatically updated on your phone as you land in the UK. But you can also purchase a physical SIM card when you're there, but they tend to be trickier to put in your phone and those kinds of things. So if you're not interested in having data or a phone plan while you're in the UK, that's okay. What I would recommend is that everybody download WhatsApp on their phone. So if you don't know what WhatsApp is, it's basically a messaging and calling app that you can use for free if you're connected to Wi-Fi. So again, what we will do when we get to the airport on Saturday, once we've kind of done our check-in and we're kind of just sitting in Moncton waiting to board our flight, we'll make sure that everybody has WhatsApp, and we'll make a group chat so that everybody's phone numbers are on there and that we can text each other no problem. So you can call home if your parents download WhatsApp. You can also call home and message home once you're connected to Wi-Fi. So of course, if ever we're out and about somewhere and you're not with one of your chaperones, you're in a group of 2 or 3 students, and something happens and you need to get in contact with us, if you connect to Wi-Fi, you'll be able to message us that way. And of course, if ever you're somewhere and there's no Wi-Fi, I would just go into a business and explain the situation, and I'm sure people will be happy to help. So stay prepared during the day. So keep your phone charged before leaving each day. Bring a cable or portable charger if you have one. And please let us know if anything happens with your phones, that it's dead or those kinds of things. So it just helps us stay in touch a bit easier with each other. Okay, so lastly, I do want to talk about behaviors and expectations while we're on the tour. I've traveled with each of the 4 students before without any issues, so I'm hopeful that it'll be the same this time, but I always like to review the expectations just so everyone's clear. So of course you want to be respectful of all students and staff while we are on tour. So we have a lot of people from World Strides that are going to be helping us out once we get there. We're going to have people helping us settle into a new theater and get ready for a show. There's a lot of moving pieces, so sometimes it can be a bit hectic, but we really should be patient and respectful with everyone while we are there. We are representing our school, and as only a few Canadians between us and Sussex, we also are indirectly representing Canada. So we want to make sure that we are always conducting ourselves respectfully. So be supportive during shows. This is the same as when we go to Drama Fest. You may go and see a show that's wonderful and it blows you away. You may also be sitting in a show where you're thinking, oh, it's not going too well for this school right now, or something's going on. No matter what, we always want to be really supportive of everyone that we're going to watch. There's going to be a place in the main office in Scotland at the campus that we can go and leave reviews for other shows that we've seen. So we'll make sure that we go and write some nice messages for some of the other schools as well. Wear your artist pass at all times. So unless you're performing on stage in costume, you should have your artist pass that you'll receive once we land in the UK. That includes even when we're out and about and just walking around the city. We want to make sure we keep those on because often it gives us entry into places. And last year when we had them on, a lot of people ask us where we're from and ask about the show. And it's a great way to promote our show to people who might come and watch. Respect quiet hours. So like I mentioned briefly before, once you've done your room check, you're in your room for the night. You shouldn't be going out doing laundry or getting a snack or showering. You should plan to do that before 11. And you want to make sure that you are, if you're talking on the phone or if you're doing something in your room, that you're doing it quietly. Please arrive on time for activities and when we say to meet, as much as possible. And the other portion I want to talk about is self-care. So we are, of course, on tour for 14 days overseas. There's going to be jet lag. It's important that you're taking care of yourself. So that means making sure that you're eating regular meals, you're not skipping meals, that when you have time to sleep, you're sleeping. So for instance, I know there are, myself included, but I know there are a few night owls on our tour. So you should try to be getting some sleep, not staying up till 2-3 a.m. on your phone in your room, because you're going to get very tired and exhausted and you will not enjoy the trip. Also a reminder, I mean, it's self-explanatory, but no alcohol, drugs, or vaping. Respect common areas. So if we are going to hang out in the lounge, we're not going to leave our food there or trash we're picking up after ourselves. We are not going into other schools' rooms. So you are not allowed in the rooms of students of other schools, and they are not allowed in your rooms. Your room is yours. That is your private space. If you want to hang out and socialize, by all means, you can do so, but you can do so in the common areas. Please attend all activities with an open mind. So you're going to be trying some stuff for the first time. You may be surprised. Something you think that was maybe not so interesting to you might be super interesting. So always go in with an open mind. Okay. And lastly, make sure that you are dressing appropriately. So if it's raining outside or if it's cold, do not show up in a tank top and shorts. Make sure that you're dressing okay for the weather. And also, I forgot, I'm just seeing it on my slide now, staying hydrated is super important. So drinking lots of water. You guys are going to be performing, singing, on tour, visiting things. It's important to drink lots of water. One issue that I find that we run into every time we go on a trip or we go to Drama Fest with our group at PRS in particular is not drinking enough water, or overindulging on caffeinated beverages instead. So someone will have a few coffees rather than water, or pop or energy drinks. That's no good. So you want to make sure that you're properly hydrated. It'll avoid you feeling either a headache or sick later on in the trip. A few last minute things before I leave you off. So the one thing I did not mention in earlier slides is medical coverage. So with your World Strides tour, you have automatic coverage for every traveler. So if anything happens that we need to bring you to a doctor, a clinic, a pharmacy, the emergency room, you will have coverage for your expenses, any medical expenses that you may need while we are there. Hopefully that's not something we have to have, but it is set up just in case. And lastly, I did want to touch on fundraising. So I did send you the documents through Teams or email of kind of the updates on our fundraisers that we did this year. We used a portion of our fundraisers to pay our licensing fees for Scotland, because we did need to pay royalty rights to be able to do the show internationally. And we also used a portion of those for our microphone rental. So the remaining portion of fundraisers has been split up between the girls based on the fundraisers that they work. So you could look at the sheet to see what kind of fundraiser money is coming back to you. The fundraiser money has been deposited to your World Strides account. So when you log into your account, you're going to see the balance that is being refunded to you. And I've been told by World Strides that that balance will be refunded to the last method of payment you use. So if it was credit card, it will be credited to a credit card or your checking account, or however you paid, what your last method of payment was. If you've got any questions, I've included the email of the person who's been looking after the finances for our group, in either the message I sent you through email or on Teams. So you can contact her if there's any questions you have about your account and the money coming back. The girls, we split the ticket profits that we made from our show at the Legion. So the girls all went home with $556 to go towards their trip after the show on Wednesday. So if you have any questions after watching this, or still things that I haven't answered, feel free to send me an email. If you'd like to set up a phone conversation, just send me an email and I'll make some time to give you a call. All right, so I'm looking forward to seeing everybody on Saturday and to starting our trip. Bye.